All right, guys, welcome back in a new project car. This gentleman's name is Jason Lamb, and this is a 97 hardtop NA Auto. Now, the NA Auto part is all going away, but the fact this is a 97, I believe this is 97 DJG or is it IGM? I think IGM is 98. Someone will correct me or I can look it up in the list. Doesn't really matter. It's green, it's beautiful, it's great, and it's a hardtop. And this must have been, I'm so used to even with NAs like her car, the power seat is cloth, but it's still powered. This actually has manual seats on both sides, which is pretty neat, and it has the one-piece headrests, so that it doesn't have a two-piece like the older ones. Yeah, this guy actually had a dark green model just like this. He showed it to another guy, Sean Forney, which I worked in the past, which you guys would have seen. He saw the videos, I guess, been following me, wants to do it again. So this is getting the works. Powerhouse Racing full V23A turbo kit, Haltech S3, Island Boys wiring harness, Granis Racing T56 and 88, and a lot more. You know, there's so many parts. This is going to be a big boy build, so I'm going to try and record as much as I can. I have my buddy Colton coming to help because this is a lot for one person. And believe it or not, we have a 6-week turnaround time to do this on the side. As you guys know, I have a full-time job, so I digress. I've already got most of the fluids out. I'm actually doing the power steering fluid right now, just letting it drip out of there. But one thing I love about factory is it has this little petcock for doing the coolant. I need to add that to all the aftermarket ones. It doesn't have something like that, but I can add an adapter so we can just crack it. I need to do it. I think Eric Lamb actually does sell something like that, and I might grab it for him. But look, all the factory plastics, has a factory splitter. It has everything. The only thing that was missing is this plastic piece under here. Now, I've already got into this a little bit here, but you can see this car is bone stock. They had a stock battery, stock everything, all the stock plastics, which I'll be putting a lot of this up for sale, actually all of it. So like that stock battery tray, stock intake, this thing, stock everything. So it's all going to be up for sale. Charcoal canister, all that stuff will all be up for sale here because we're going to a big single build. So none of this stuff's going to be in here. He also wants to get the engine bay painted. I could see why. Realistically, I think could be okay with a good cleaning, but he wants it sprayed. One thing I noticed though, there's a giant hole there that's not factory. They must have ran that for a stereo system or something one time because not sure why that's there, but it is. Got all the fluids out of it, but it's time to start ripping all this out and see what it looks once she's all done. It's cool seeing like all the factory stuff, but like filter doesn't even look bad. I'll throw that in the trash here, but again, there's the factory battery. And yeah, get that off. Just cool seeing some of the factory stuff. This was already busted though. Like that was busted. This was already snapped off there. Look at that. But again, we're replacing all that, brushless fans, all that good stuff, so it doesn't matter. This is a nice setup though, because this has the more modern 97, 98 ABS. Now he wants to paint the engine bay, and I absolutely hate taking brake lines out of these cars. So I'm not sure how he wants to work around that. If we're just going to paint, you know, around these things because the truly remove everything gets to be a real PETA, but it depends what he wants to do and how much time he wants to spend for me to rip it all apart. So let's get to it. All right, guys. So Rob and Austin are already working. Got the hood off now. You see they're going at things a little bit quicker here. Austin used to work over at RPM, and Rob is my neighbor who is just absolutely complete sex appeal. Just look at him. Absolute. So we're cutting off the hose here again. A lot of the stuff's not getting reused, so I'm like, just cut it, remove it. Same thing with the radiator hoses here. They'll go back to the heater core. They can be cut. Doesn't matter because we're not going to reuse it. So just going to keep going. And yeah, these two stud mufflers are going to have at it. So I am taking apart his engine now, guys. Just want to show you some of this. Ripping this off. And this is all going straight in the trash where it belongs. Because we're going to do a forward-facing intake manifold. And these things suck if you actually work on your engines, get your injectors, all that stuff. Yeah, but in theory, it's actually really nice because it gives you longer runners, gives you better load and torque. But it sucks aesthetically. It's a nightmare too. Look at all the vacuum hoses. We're taking all this out, making things as simple as possible, easier to work on, and just, yeah, long-term, just a better setup. So yeah, got to take power steering pump, got to reuse a lot of this stuff here. Dampers coming off. We have a fluid damper. We will use the, crank gears here. I'll probably get those powder coated or Cerakoted for him. Timing belt looks like it was done recently, but that's all getting scrapped again. Distributor goes away, valve covers go away. You know, we're just saving a lot of the bare minimum. We'll take the engine mounts off here too. I'll get those powder coated. We'll see if I can get new engine mounts. The rubber mounts, I have to see if I can get those just because it'll be nice, so it's nice and clean. Get this pipe cleaned up here. Have to have that pinched and welded. Yeah, unfortunately, these can't really be used. They're made of magnesium, can't really weld to them or do anything, so they're kind of useless. There's a good bit of oil down the galleyway, I noticed, but the head's going to go out, get decked, cleaned before reassembly. So yeah, I'm going to continue ripping this thing apart and get rid of all this dumb stuff here. No more distributor. There was no leaks from behind. That was one thing that was nice. There was no leaks back here. Definitely someone had been here at some time and replace something. The car has like 170,000 miles on it, so not surprising. But yeah, let's continue and get this all apart. Oh, we also put new bushings in the car because we are going to be using this axle. Now, the one thing we're going to have to finagle here, and it's because of the 8.8. Now, if you use a factory Toyota, it was not that bad. But these nuts, you have to get a socket around. Well, these are recessed in, designed for factory. So like I can push that out from the other side with a screwdriver, but now it just has a little bit of room in here, but I can't really get a socket on it. So I'm gonna have to figure something out to get that on there and spin it on. So I'm trying to use my little bit of a brain here and figure out how I'm gonna do that. So I just wanted to show you this. I've cut up this harness a ton just because, again, we don't reuse any of this stuff. And this is why I wanted to say and talk about this a little bit. I don't reuse harnesses because, one, these cars are 25 to 30 years old. They're heat cycled, and we're adding so many sensors. We want to get the full utilization out of our standalone, and then when you use a jumper harness with it, that's already $1,000. And then you're jumpering to this, that's just not a failure point. It's just like I got to run all these extra wires. It ends up costing more when you end up doing it right. And here's the other thing. You can see, like, literally the plastic's broken. All the like hard plastic, like this stuff is literally just falling to pieces. You can see it all there. It's literally just falling and disintegrating. So I cut out some of the plugs I find useful, like some of the ones that are inside the cabin. The rest of it here is just going to go straight in the trash because it's just not worth anything. And it's going to get a new harness from Island Boys Tuning. And yeah, so I got a few more things I need to pull off here yet. But I love a JZ because they're not that complicated and you could just rip them apart. All right, guys, so I've got most of the engine tore apart now. Now we just got to break all these cam caps loose. And what I do is, let me grab this real quick. Go to Harbor Freight, and I know they make kits for this, but I found this better, especially when you're working on customer cars. I got these clear bins, do an exhaust side, so exhaust, and you can fit all your valves in this. Or you can really use one if you don't have to save your exhaust valves. But if you need to save them, it helps because of the fact that I can get the full exhaust valve in here and sit it down and close it up. If not, you can just save the bucket springs wherever you need to. And you can use one side can be intake and one side exhaust. This will fit 24 total, which is really nice. I've done that in the past. But for this, I'm going to use two bins, one for intake, one for exhaust, and label it 1 through 12. And it just makes it really nice. The reason I prefer this too is for a customer car like this, I can close these up and then stack them off to the side. Don't have to worry about dirt, debris, someone knocking over it, spilling out. This actually locks in the case. It's cheap, effective, and I use a brand new ones for each customer I get in. So just a nice little piece. So from this, now I got to break all the cam caps loose. Now, I'm not going to be as gentle as I normally would, just for the fact that these are factory cams. We're not going to reuse them. We're going to use the shim buckets because we're not putting massive cams in this thing. But the rest of it, I'm just going to break loose, and then I'll use my driver there. So I just want to use this to break it all loose, and then I'll go from there again for all these. And you can see, I'm not sure if they ever changed the darn oil in this or what, but it is bad. Again, the head's going to go out, get cleaned, get decked, all that good stuff. But I was like, holy cow, she's a little rough. You can hear it as I hear the air release. It's pretty funny. So break them all loose. And like I said, I'll use my ratchet then. So go over and do this side now. But probably going to speed this up. Again, if this was a built engine head cam setup, I would be taking my good sweet time, but with this, doesn't really matter. Alright, now the thumb sticks are out. These are going directly in the trash because I do not need these things, so they're going right in the trash. See if I can get both of them manhandled here. There we go. Sweet. Right in the trash they go. Real quick, guys, I just wanted to show you this using this Toyo tool. I pretty much only use this if I'm removing stock valves because anything else, it's just easier. There's another tool I use, especially when doing inside the car. That was meant for Subarus, and I saw another guy say he's going to make it. But the Subaru one is made out of steel, so the threads don't wear out. Anyways, I digress. I use this, hit it with a hammer, and pop these really nicely. It has two sides, one for removal, and the other side is for installing. So this is the removal side. See, it puts in there. All you do is this has a little magnet in it. It's designed to pop these suckers out, so you put the tool over it like so. And see if I can put the tool over it. And as all that stuff goes flying there, but that's it. So the keepers and the retainer stay in there because it's magnetic. I pull it off and keep it off the side. Now we do have new stuff for this build, but I like to keep some of the keepers and retainers in case if you've ever worked on a 2J, they go flying sometimes. So if I have a car and I need some extra, I have it now, and it's just nice to have. I've actually got the head under here going to my buddy over at the IAG Performance, and he's going to clean it and just deck the head, because that's what we're doing. Then I'll reassemble it. And then the block I went ahead and got cleaned up. I got to scrape the top of it here a little bit more, get it cleaned off for the deck of it here. But you see, painted the block nice. I used brake cleaner and scuffed up the NA oil filter housing. I prefer using these over the turbo ones, or even a relocation kit. Try to keep it simple, but I prefer this over the direct mount. So when you take the filter off, it doesn't go down the side of the block, and it sticks out a little bit. So like it's easy to get to. I don't know. Personally, I think it just makes it a little bit easier. I've got our sensor in it here. And again, I used a nice scuffing pad and scuffed this all up with a ton of brake cleaner. And yeah, just looks nice. Even painted the front here around the certain areas, because this actually is exposed. And the rest of it just going to get a water pump, oil pump here. I got to scrape this a little bit more, make sure it's nice and clean. And yeah, there isn't much left to do. We're just waiting on parts here. Buddy Rob just ran up. The engine bay is completely cleared out. We just have to depressurize the AC system here so we can pull that. And then I'm going to pressure wash as much as I can, get all the gunk off of it here, pull the brake booster, and then this will be painted a minty green. I guess we'll pull the bar too. Might as well take that down. I might take that down to get powder coated for him, because it's like, might as well get a powder coat if everything else is. And yeah, I mean, the car really has, this is not even rust. This is just like dirt. So there's really very, if any, rust on this thing. Being a California car, I'm just blown away. For 170,000 miles, there's like legitimately no rust on this thing. It's kind of wild. But yeah, so I digress, guys, and let's keep working. So I've been slacking here a little bit on the updates, guys. Just came out here now. It's quiet time. The kids just went to bed. So now I can have a beer. I just get to look at everything. I laid everything out earlier, and I'm going to attack this tomorrow. But I can see, I always label it every time, put numbers on it here for the torque sequence. But you can see everything's all cleaned up. Block looks beautiful. Head looks beautiful. I had Harshman Automotive deck and clean the head for me. Then it's typical BC springs, titanium retainers, and keepers. With typical ARP hardware, all torque down to 80 foot-pounds. You do it in 3 different increments, and then in the typical torque spec. So that's all done. I need to put the buckets back in that are over there. And then we get to the fun part, which is the next thing that kind of sucks with the 2J. Putting the cams in, make sure that your block is off of TDC. So just if you want to, put a screwdriver, put a piece of tape on the head of it so you don't score up the pistons, and just bring it out of TDC. This way you do it. It shouldn't interfere, but better safe than sorry. I've got 3 or 4 videos on that, so I'm not going to make another one here. Just kind of going over it. Again, I'll attack that tomorrow. And then after that, there isn't much to do until I get some parts. As you can see, the car is not here. Got my Corolla there. It's actually off the paint already. So I am 10 days into it. Car's already off. Everything's out of it. AC, everything already off the paint. Engine's already back in, assembled. 10 days as a side. I feel like this is moving really quick. This is honestly me patting myself in the back. I feel like quick turnaround time for everything, and this is really enjoyable for me. I feel like the customer is going to be really happy, because I promised them 6 weeks, which is giving myself a little leeway just to be safe, because parts take time, things take time, but I think we'll be able to do it and should be safe. So again, start torquing. Also got the cam gears here. I have to find the one shim. For some reason, I couldn't find it in the box. I just got to go through it here. I'm missing a few pieces, so need to make sure I find that. All right, so check out that hat again, guys. You probably saw the beginning of the video. New merch, it's awesome. Wearing 2J Katie's hoodie right now. And also I got to show you these. Come on, look at them. Woo! Oh my God! Oh, new boot goofing. Come on, look at them things, boy. This is these are proper work attire. Anyways, look what's back. Look at that paint. Would you look at it? Just look at it, boys and girls. Absolutely gorgeous. Travis Beaver at Beaver's Auto Body and his entire team knocked this out. Now, putting stuff back in, I'm tucking no harness because I do not want any of that paint getting rubbed. This is dirty. I actually cleaned this up with LA's Awesome, and it still looks like this. That got dust on it because there's so much dirt and grime in this, but I'm not trying to spray into that. It's the downside of this. Yeah. It's old plastic. This is where I hate putting old things back in. We even sprayed the cowl up inside of here. That's one of the things Travis is like, if it's all apart, might as well spray it. Same with all the hinges and everything. And I unbolted this and we painted it separate. The one thing I didn't take out was these clips, as I had a hard time getting these from Toyota. So no harm and foul there. We'll just slide back into it. And then we just cut off here because the rest of it you can't see. The fenders obviously bolt up to this point here the whole way down, but everything is sprayed and it just nice and fresh. So yeah, he just wanted it done quick. We even sprayed the whole way down here. And as you can see, the whole way into here. And he was kind enough to go ahead and recoat all of my tow hooks for me, which was very nice. And then down through the tunnel, he sprayed it nice and black in there, so we had a cutoff. But yeah, now this is the quote-unquote fun part of putting it back together. Got to get the brake booster back in, the clutch line. Yeah, wanted to do the wiring first, get that all done, tucked in, because that's the unfun part. This way, as we go through it, I can do all the fun stuff. Put the AC condenser back in. I got to extend some wires though. So when you do this, you have to extend for the 2 wires that go to the brake module that let it know if you got low fluid. You need, I think it's 4 wires or 6 wires that go up to the windshield wipers. Then you have to split the loom and extend it, because I don't like to run up and over for the alternator line. You split the loom and it actually fits and goes directly to the alternator. You have the 2 wires that come up here for the AC switch. And I think that's it, because in this case, we are deleting the ABS system and we have a Powerhouse Racing tucked system or tucked setup. So all the rest of that's not necessary. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you need to extend that I can think of. If I do, I will mention it. So yeah, let's go ahead and start installing some parts. Like I said, I went ahead and put the latches back in. I had marked it like with driver side, passenger side, just so I knew which was which, because it can be confusing at times. I can be a dummy. So just so I did that. This is the only thing it does stink. These clips always break. So I got some zip ties here. Try to get new clips. Again, if someone could recommend, I could not get them. I am a Toyota parts freak and I could not get those. So if you can, let me know and I'll take the zip ties off and replace those, because I absolutely cannot stand that. I want it to be perfect as possible. And look at the overspray from this car was painted in the past. So look at all the overspray on that. Again, mind you, the whole harness was out of it. So there's overspray on this when the car was resprayed at one time. This is for the, I think, ambient temperature sensor, which I just zip tie up. Like I'll put it into either here or something of that nature. Like sit it like this and zip tie it to it. Just because the intercooler will get in the way. But yeah, I digress. This is awesome. So getting ready to put the pans on here, but I want to show you some of the parts. So we've got brand new lower pan, cleaned up the baffle plate and the strainer here. We've got brand new bolts and hardware for the bottom. Brake booster, which is actually for my car. I got this little thing that helps squeeze out the FIPG. Because I don't do it enough that I don't have a big tube of it yet, and I think I'm gonna have to switch to it here soon because I've been using it more and more. But I only like to use the Toyota stuff, one, because it's black. The other stuff is gray, and just, I know it's dumb, but like when I squeeze it out, you see gray versus black. It just doesn't look as nice. So that's one of those dumb things. Again, cleaned up the block here with brake cleaner again. But over here, you'll see laying on the ground is all of the parts that have powder coated. Some of these are mine too, so I wanted to get some diff covers done and powder coated while things were down there. I had some extra ones. I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and powder coat them just because. And a lot of this is his though, so like the timing covers, the exhaust. Again, just because I figured we get the exhaust hanger on there, get it powder coated. Motor mounts, brackets for even the power steering pump, his water neck, AC brackets, the brackets that go back behind for the AC and for the coolant. A lot of the exhaust intercooler piping, the exhaust shields, I should say. And the biggest one here for me, along with the PHR catch can, the biggest one is the oil pan. I've always wanted to have this powder coated. I thought this was really freaking cool, and I think it turned out great. It gives a nice aesthetic look, especially when you're underneath the car. So yeah, it's pretty pumped, but let's get this all in the car now. So the engine's all sealed up now. I paint markered everything this time around, torqued everything down. 12 millimeter bolts, 12 millimeter heads get torqued to 15 foot-pounds, and the bigger 14 millimeter heads get torqued down to 29 foot-pounds. And these are like 6.4 foot-pounds. I forget what it comes. I think it's like 90 Newton meters or something. Can't remember off the top of my head here, but did this yesterday. I just want to show you guys. I still got to peel the sticker off this thing here because I put a brand new pan because the last one, typical, was a little bit messed up. And again, going through some of the powder coating parts here, still got more over there. I'm going to flip this over now and start putting the other parts on. Since the bottom side is now tidied up and finished, I can start actually finishing the top end of the engine and putting on the engine mounts and all the other fun stuff that we have here. I love how you see my kids' stuff in the background here. But the engine, again, was sealed up, but now I start putting on We got motor mounts on now, and I've got some mismatching here because, you know, I don't want to keep charging a customer for bolts, stuff you can't see, so I clean up his factory bolts. You can see those were black, and now they're nice and gold like factory was. Same thing here, but I did use stainless up top of here. Some of the stuff, everything for the most part that you see up top, or things that like were crucial, and like when I torqued it down, didn't want any grit and grime. So it's just easier to buy new bolts, like stuff for the AC pump, and that's probably the only eyesore that's going to be left is the AC pump. I'm still waiting on my bolts for this side yet, and I need a chute, the one piece that goes behind it here, so I can finish torquing this down. That's why the valve covers aren't on. But now I can start doing some of the other fun stuff. Like I've got the Freed Engineering dipstick in there now, put new bolts in here. Again, powder coated the motor mount on this side. Again, cleaned up the filter housing here. The fuel setup is on. Now I got to do some of the wiring. This comes from Island Boy Tuning. It's pretty darn nice. This is all labeled, and this is a breakout with a ground strap on it here that you're going to ground directly to the head here. So if you need to unplug it, you can, so you can actually change out your coils pretty easily. And I like that it has a ground strap right at the head like factory would have. He also making me 2 other breakouts. One is for the T56, so when you take the T56 down, you don't need to try and get these plugs off. If you ever try to do it in the car, they suck. So you just unplug the one plug now. And then this goes over for the drive-by wire. So this is drive-by wire for the throttle. And then I also asked him to go ahead and incorporate the rolling anti-lag and my cruise control switch. Realistically, it can be in one wire for me because I built a table in the Nexus that allows the cruise control switch to be the rolling anti-lag and the cruise control. It's just logic I set up in the ECU, makes it pretty easy. And this is the main harness. So there isn't a whole lot to it. Just 2 plugs here. You're down to the ECU. The rest of it here. Oh, I didn't unplug it fully, darn it. So this up here, I need to cut that. Hold on here. Let's go ahead and snip, snip. Snippity, snip. Do that. This comes down inside the car. Not sure why it goes up. It's not the end of the world, but I was just curious. And this plugs down into it there. And then these plugs go into the ECU itself. And that's it. I think that's the only thing inside. What else is here? I guess these are 2. Whoops. Very different. And then these are extra for AP key cruise control. These are the spare. I asked him to not, I don't want to have to tie into the ECU plugs at all. So I wanted to be just a regular breakout. So if we ever need to add pins, or if he needs to, he can. And I think this is also, no, this is for the CAN bus. This will be for the, BTI gauge. So that's pretty much it. And the rest of it's just regular stuff. Again, once I get on the car and then get in there, I'll be able to show a little bit more. But yeah, very nice factory boot setup. And now I can start throwing on the engine. I've always had to install the engine first, then put the wiring on, which sucks. This is going to be so much better to do it outside the car, so I have a lot more room to work with. So a lot has happened, guys, and again, this video is getting long in the tooth. Lance and Dave Riggs are over there going to give me crap because they hate my long videos. Some of you guys like them. I don't know. So right now, the engine's all back in. The wiring's on the car. You see the hole's been drilled. We've got some of the Powerhouse Racing parts in here. This is really cool. I forgot that Powerhouse Racing even made this part that adapts everything. So this adapts for their quick clamp, which they make their own quick clamp too, which I didn't know about. So how cool is this? And it's a one piece, just like the Vibrant setup. So I'll show you here. Clicks on, you press it in this button first. Pressing that button, then do that. And if I put my knee on it right now, it comes apart. So you can use one hand and it's toolless. Besides the person that's holding it right now, the biggest tool on earth. Haha, get it? Dig it myself. Anyways, intake manifolds on. We've got the Powerhouse Racing hoses, front and back. I did rubber hoses here because it's such a short run. Yes, I've seen guys do AN. I didn't feel comfortable with that because it's such a short run. The hose would be like this big. I want some flex, and I think those look nice. This is also using a PHR radiator with their new PHR fan setup. This is a single brushless fan. So if you see here, it's one giant brushless fan, so it sticks up kind of like factory. I like this for the fact that you're dealing with one fan. It puts off just almost as much CFM as a 2 setup, but you only need one fan for it. And if you have intercore piping that goes straight down, you get all that room still. So it frees up all that room and gives you a lot more space. This also has a built-in coolant tank. That's probably the biggest thing I like. I currently have a coolant tank over here, which I'm not sure I'm going to put back in because it's just one more thing. I love that that's built in, and I'm not going to lie, I'm definitely jealous that they have that. I'm hoping on these they can try and finagle a way in this, because I feel like they could put something like right here or even off to the side built into it. I'm just trying to think, because I'd love something built into this. Just because then it's one fixed piece. Makes it easy. Look how dirty this thing has been sitting here since the car's been wrecked. I'm gonna have to polish everything back up. I'm gonna take this all apart, clean it all out. I rinsed this out before I stored it here. Going a little bit about my car now, but I'll probably have to do it again because the part's all sitting there. Sorry, guys out there mowing my grass. Transmission's all in now, bled, all good to go. Rear end, we did have an axle snafu. The axles that Drive Shaft Shop had sent me were wrong. We spent like 3-4 hours back and forth, me and Colton going up, down, me and Rob going up and down with the car. Could not figure out what was going on. Ended up being the axles were too long. So no matter what I did, we even like to take, obviously with an IRS car, when the wheels sag, they suck in, right? So we put wood blocks and everything, pushed the wheel up and out, pushed up on the assembly so it would level it out as much as we could. Still could not get it in because it was like an inch, I think it was like an inch too long, and it was just long enough that it was causing us issues. So kind of is what it is. We've also got the PHR catch can in here. We've got those PHR valve covers. Autosport Engineering R35 coil pack kit, because this is designed for the NA head. The PRP kit is only designed for a GTE head. This bolts in the back and holds everything in, which I was a little skeptical about, but man, it is really sturdy. I was a little surprised because I was definitely concerned. This is also the new PHR under the head hard hose. So this is designed for the GTE. This is one of the prototypes, so they might change a little bit. I put one on my engine. One thing we had to do, we had to make this little bracket. Now, again, it was meant for GTE. The GE pipe is different, and where it mounts is different. So the water pump is the issue for that. So where the water pump sits at causes it to sit a little bit different in the back. So we just made a little tab. Now I've told Sam at PHR, and they might make something that works, because let's be honest, more and more guys are using GE blocks because GTE blocks are harder to come by. I'm trying to think of what else. Obviously, we painted the engine bay. I put all new plugs in here. We've got the pieces here that's for the MAC valve. We're going to be running the PHR boost line kit. We've got the hose coming over and across. So what I did was I ran it down, up and over behind this here. So the hose is behind this here. We'll run it across. Now, usually this would even be hidden here, but it's not that bad. It'll come here, and I have a 90-degree fitting off of the turbo. I have a little bit of slack in it because I don't want to have that line tight, but it keeps it nice and short and to the point because there's no oil feed on a GE block on this side. We've also got things powered up. I'm pretty happy. Now I have it off right now. We'll see if the trunk is open, but most of the dash is in. We've got that BTI gauge in there, son. Come on, come on. So let's go in the back here. Pop open the trunk if we can. So here is the battery setup per the customer's request. I think I talked about this already. I got the last few things I need to do right here, but yeah, this is how the battery is going to be situated. Goes from here. This is your grounds directly from the battery, mounting it here, which goes directly into that battery mount there. Just the dust coming off this thing. I'm gonna have to wash this car for the customer when it's done. The pollen here is crazy. Then I use these zip tie mounts that have a sticky tape on the other side. I don't like drilling into the car if I don't have to. Same thing with the mount here. So that is all done. Fuel pumps are in. Already tested. Already have a tune loaded into the Nexus S3. I guess, is it called an Nexus? Yeah, I guess so. So it's a Haltech S3 in the car. So it's not a PDM, but it is a standalone that replaced the Haltech Elite. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest of the parts for the turbo kit show up today, which I'll show you that, guys, once it gets here, and kind of go over what he bought then. actually have to use my iPhone here, so it's a little jittery. Got to finish this out with my iPhone. But yeah, so if you guys see here, the car made great power, 815 wheel horsepower and like 650 foot-pounds of torque. Trying to keep it as safe as possible for the fact that it's a stock block. Everything else I built in it, but I didn't want to push it there. Sean did a great job tuning the car. Everything drives well. We're just mess with the idle a little bit more, but it's done. Like it's ready to go back to the customer. I'm beyond happy with the way everything turned out. So yeah, I mean, you guys saw the whole build series here. The one thing I want to show you here, you'll see again, people are going to complain about the torque curve and stuff. So if you look here, in my opinion, I get it. I just do not want to go back to a customer. It's going to be with him for the next, I don't know how many years. And I'm not going to be there with him to make sure it's okay. It's going over 1,000 miles away from me. It needs to go back, be turnkey, run every time. I have to keep this thing safe. I need to make sure he can enjoy it for the next 5-6 years until he wants to build the thing. Here's the other graphs now. This shows us as we went in. This is the easiest dyno day I've ever had. We literally, I drove it down to 85, drove it to 45 minutes down the dyno, went down there, made the pools, went home. It only took us an hour because literally the car just had 0 issues, which is fantastic. No leaks, no problems. We made pools and then we were done. Even Rob, who was running, is like, I think this is the fastest a car's ever been tuned because we did all the other stuff. Pain in the butt stuff is like getting the car to drive nice, tip in, which I did all that stuff in the street. We already tuned 93. We already got idle taken care of. So all we did was did the fun pools and we were out. So that's pretty much it, guys. This is going back to Jason. He is going to be extremely happy with the end product here. I'm excited. I'm waiting to see what he says once he gets the car because he's going to have it shipped back. So yeah, I hope all's well, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in and talk to you later. Peace.